Redditors with thin walls, what have you heard in your apartment? My upstairs neighbors taking turns zapping each other with a stun gun, hitting the floor, groaning in pain, and then laughing like Beavis and Butthead. Someone sneezed. We said bless you. They laughed. Damn it, Lawrence, can't you just pretend like we can't hear each other through the wall? Hey Peter man. Check out Channel 9. I've heard my neighbor giving his granddaughter a xylophone, for birthday I guess. She could play it well and kept playing for a while. Immediately after she left I could hear him trying to play something his granddaughter played. He practiced for a solid hour until he managed to play this song correctly and stopped with a joyful eyes. It was one of the purest things I've ever experienced. What a wholesome break from bad music and people banging. You're only with me for the crack, my next door neighbors edit. Guys, they're not Irish. They're white trash Dartmouth folk in Nova Scotia. What can only be described as my flatmate having phone sex while using Christian Bale's Batman voice. Upstairs neighbors were a single mom and teenage daughter. They were very loud. The mom's room was above my room. One day I had off and was woken up by sex upstairs. It was pretty common in the previous couple weeks. This time, though, someone came in and started screaming. You're having sex in my bed. Turns out the daughter had been skipping school and coming back to the apartment with her boyfriend. They were the ones having sex in the mom's bed. The fight that ensued should have earned both women awards. I moved from far away, so I have a different state license plate than everyone else at the apartment complex. A couple of days ago I had my upstairs neighbor drunkenly ranting to his wife about what he thinks I'm up to. He's convinced that I'm on the run from something. I'm just in grad school, Lamau. Grad school for crime. I lived next to a couple some years ago and they came home after a night out and started fighting about who was better at darts. I thought they were joking but it got pretty heated. Doors were slammed. Edit, since people are asking, they were playing darts at the bar earlier that night. From what I could tell they were playing as a team and the boyfriend wasn't pulling his weight and was super defensive about it, had an off night, allegedly. The girlfriend was mad he couldn't accept she was better. I'm no detective but think they had some relationship issues bigger than darts. I still don't know who thought it was a good idea to combine alcohol and darts. Therese, this new fad of axe throwing. Axe throwing places keep popping up and they all sell alcohol. Who thought axes and alcohol should be mixed? And their insurance rates must be insane. Who thought axes and alcohol should be mixed? Danish Vikings, that's who. I lived next to a guy who took care of his disabled girlfriend. She stayed home with a nurse while he worked to support them and pay for her health care. Everyone really admired him for it. He used to get drunk and tell her that if she doesn't start putting out he's gonna throw her ass out. I was expecting something nice and now I feel like I turned hard into a wall. I was expecting a twist. I was not expecting that twist. William. We do not hit. His mom was visiting. He was 30. Poor mom, I feel bad for laughing at this. My parents told me stories about the apartment they lived in when I was a baby. The lady above us was a classically trained pianist and her music room was above my room. Apparently when I would start crying in my crib she would start playing and I would go right to sleep. After my parents divorced my dad stayed in the same apartment. A few years later when I went to visit him, I was about 10 or 11, I got to finally meet her for the first time. The woman who used to play me to sleep as a baby taught me how to play the piano 10 years later. Edit, wow. Thanks for my first silver, guys. I am sad to say I retained very little from our lessons, but I can play a mean chopsticks. Edit, and gold too? Okay, that's rad. You'll like me, you really like me. That's obscenely wholesome. Sorry about the divorce, but it's still a sweet story. Yesterday when I was taking a shit my neighbor was blasting classical music on full volume. It was the most majestic and relaxing shit I've taken in a long time. Pre-dawn hours, blizzard outside, everything still and quiet, my roommate and I heard our neighbor on the other side of the firewall fart, went in deep like a stifled baritone sax, and exclaimed to himself in a twisted combination of awe and disgust, "Oh my God." We burst out laughing, and hear him chime in with pride, "Did you guys hear that?" Vindicated that his fart was heard and forever lives in our memories. This one is my favorite. My dad used to fart loudly in his sleep, and I told my sister it sounded like someone slapping a vat of butterscotch pudding. She laughed so hard she cried, peed in her pants, and woke my parents up. We were in our 20s, so it was kind of awkward. Editing to add, in the nanosecond I had, post-paternal pudding fart, I envisioned a big vat of pudding, with a hand slapping it. My dad has always only liked two kinds of pudding, and one was butterscotch, so that's what I envisioned. The other kind he likes is tapioca, and I'm glad I didn't think of it, because fundamentally, when you compare puddings, butterscotch was perfect. Tapioca would have only conjured up lumps and a shardy mess to clean up. Edit number 2. I told my dad about this post, and he was horrified that I thought a fart head slept through was his best. He and my mom agreed that her funeral fart, posted further down, was an award winner. Then he says, tell them, all Redditors, I assume, about the time your mother made seagulls fart. And how she trapped us in the room while she air shit herself. Tell him that one. My dad did, too. One night, after working a double, I was trying to be quiet making my way down the hall to my room. He ripped a violent one, and yelled, you mother ducker. That stunk. In his sleep. I was choking trying not to lose my shit laughing, I ran face first into my door. It's been over 20 years since that incident, and I still have laughing fits over it. My husband lets out huge farts every morning. He was in the middle of doing it when we hear a small fart-like noise. Our baby who was sleeping in the room decided to imitate the noise. An argument about money while I was doing the dishes. It ended with a slammed door and one of them on a piano, hitting the keys like a maniac. Some people read, some people go get something to eat, some people exercise. This mother ducker relieves stress by going crazy on a piano. Lol. Angrily plays Mozart. Lol, I can just imagine someone with a very distressed look on their face professionally playing Mozart, and it's hilarious. I've heard and felt the neighbors upstairs having sex. And apparently they like to rearrange the furniture at least twice a week. My upstairs neighbors used to do the furniture moving thing. We both had studio apartments and it was a huge mystery to me how they could move what sounded like a warehouse full of furniture for an hour in such a tiny place. I'm sure this has already been posted a million times in this thread, but youtube.com. I knew what this was without even having to click. I watch this as a form of therapy when I think I'm going to lose it from the people above me start clog dancing or whatever the hell it is they do up there. I've been hearing Don't Stop Believing by Journey every morning at least twice for about a month now. You shouldn't stop believing. I can hear when my neighbors vacuum. Our building tends to vacuum together as a result. I hear my upstairs neighbor and go, oh hey, I should vacuum, haven't done that in a while and it's already noisy. Then my downstairs neighbor and my left-hand neighbor start vacuuming. It's kinda hilarious. My right-hand neighbor doesn't vacuum with us but does sing opera while doing dishes. Do you ever run into your neighbors in the hall and be like, good vacuuming yesterday, huh? Gina, I love you. Gina, no. Gina, damn it, put the knife down. At this point, both the apartments adjoining to Gina's called the police. Gina's husband decided to spend the night elsewhere. Not in my house, but I travel a lot for work and stay in a lot of hotels. So far my favorite was hearing someone banging around in the shower for a while, then this exchange, loudly, hey. Wash my balls. Louder, wash your own goddamn balls. Yelling, duck you, your pussy stinks. They got quiet after that, probably because they heard me howling with laughter and realized people could hear them. I woke up one morning in a daze, started walking down my stairs, I live in a townhouse, a condo, and paused and farted, way louder than I expected. My neighbor next door started laughing so hard from her living room. I once interrupted my neighbor's sexcapades with a rather gigantic fart. Dude was not amused and I was treated to incessant door slamming for the rest of the night. Well, I mean, you're supposed to be quiet when you're watching. Our neighbors were once talking loud and I was nosy, so I put my ear up to the wall and realized she was reading him Harry Potter pretty enthusiastically and it made my heart melt. Did you ask for them to keep reading when they stopped? He left an unobtrusive note on her bathroom mirror asking when she'll read again. Don't worry, next time there's some steam she'll see it.